Welcome to the Why Did I Get Cancer podcast. I'm Deborah Herlax-Enos, a small-town girl turned TV nutritionist and healthy living expert. I design health programs for the average guy or gal, including those average guys named Metallica. On September 1st, 2020, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. I asked every oncologist the same question, why did I get cancer? But none of my doctors had good answers for me. I wanted answers, and that's why I started this podcast. I want to help you to lower your cancer risk and provide self-care tips for those in the battle. I'm getting answers, and I want to share them with you. And today's episode is all about fear. And as much as I don't want to admit it to all of you, I've been a very fearful person probably for the last 30 years of my life. And I wish I could pinpoint it. I mean, if I'm really being honest, I probably can. I think it was right after I graduated from college and lived in a small town, lived there my whole life. And it was time for me to move to the big city and start adulting. And I just didn't think I could make it on my own financially and socially and all these things. And so I was seeing somebody in college and we got married because, you know what? I just didn't think I could make it on my own. So that was, me starting my adult life in a massive amount of fear. And it took me years and years and years to really dig myself out of that. And that's why I was so excited to talk to Jamie Winship. Now, I'm referring to my very first podcast, and the title of it was The Role Fear Plays in Cancer. And I was very fearful going into cancer, fearful I was A, going to die, B, I was going to have to do chemo, radiation, lose all this time at work. And I didn't want my life to change. And it was about to change big time. And I'd known Jamie already for a couple of years. And he's honestly a fear expert. I mean, he helps people all over the world get out of fear-based thinking and to really find their true identity. And that's one of the things that I really just love so much about Jamie's work. One of the other things that I just really love about Jamie's work is he teaches people that they can absolutely manage their fear and then they can do it in 5 minutes or less. So I'm going to just dive in and tell you some of my top takeaways with my time with Jamie. And one of the statements that I loved is he talks about fear and internal conflict. I mean, who doesn't have that? Where you get the bad email, you get the bad voicemail, a doctor calls you, tells you have, blah, 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 cancer, whatever. And you just go into this, for me, just this internal implosion of fear and your mind just running amok. And so what Jamie told me is that you absolutely have the capacity to manage your own fear. And it comes from acknowledging the truth of any situation. So he was saying that when fear starts to rise up inside of you, you ask yourself this question, is God for me, against me, or indifferent? So then you start telling yourself the truth at that point, which is maybe, again, when it comes to cancer, okay, I just got this cancer diagnosis. Well, the truth is I don't have all the information yet. I don't have the information that I might have to do chemo. I don't have the information that this is going to really shorten my lifespan. So calming yourself down, he said, getting into just a quiet place, doing a couple of minutes of breathing. And again, just going into that, telling yourself the truth and going through those questions. Is God for me? Is God against me? Or is God indifferent? And when you know God is for you, you don't feel powerless and you don't feel alone. And Jamie was saying, out of all the emotions we can feel, the two that people fear the most is that powerless and that alone. And so when you feel powerless and alone, it drives you into such a negative tailspin of behavior where he said, honestly, when you're feeling powerless and alone, you need to get as much attention from the world as possible. So you got to get more likes on Facebook. You've got to get more downloads on your podcast. I mean, you've got to just get people, again, watching you and paying attention to you and, whatever it is you need from them. And that's not really walking in your true identity that God has given you. And we're not a slave to man. And I think that's probably one of the other, my big takeaways in my time with Jamie is if our day is all about getting people to like us, getting people to pay attention to us in an attempt to not feel powerless and to not feel alone, we're never going to be truly walking in our true identity that God has given us. So that was a huge takeaway. And when Jamie was talking about identity, he was talking about some work that he's done with kids. And I think this was at an elementary school he was working with these kids, 5th or 6th graders in Tennessee. And he said he had the kids write down all the negative things that they thought about themselves. Maybe it was, you're a bad child, you're a bad sister, you're terrible at math, your report card is unsatisfactory. All these things that people had said to them their whole life. And this was all in the context of, really understanding your true identity. And so he said, okay, you've written all those down. We're going to pass around the garbage can. You're going to rip it up, throw it in the garbage can. And now he said to these kids, what if love was talking to you? Who does love say that you are? And he said these kids were writing things down like, you're a good son, you're a great sister, you get great grades, you help your teachers. And he said it was unbelievable how the attitude of these kids changed when they were gentle with themselves. They no longer believed the lies that people had been telling them. And they believed the truth, which is what love, you can also sub in the word God, was saying to them, which is, you are good, you are courageous, you are kind, you are loving, you are full of grace. And he said that the room changed in an instant. And then as they tracked these kids over the next few months, the discipline action in each room, in each classroom went down and the grades went up. That's absolutely incredible. So he taught these kids in about 10 minutes how to walk truly in their real identity, which is the positive and the good, and to not believe the lies that society has told us. So again, another really huge takeaway. And I'll finish with probably one of my favorite things that Jamie has ever taught me. And this is when, your life's starting to get crazy, your day is getting crazy, things are falling apart. Take that deep breath and you ask God or you ask love, what do you want me to know about this situation? And just get quiet and wait for the answer. And you know what? The answer always comes. What do you want me to know about this situation? Take that pause and then ask the question of God or love, what do you want me to do? I can't tell you how many times that has helped me out of a jam. Maybe it's even in a line at Starbucks and I see people, maybe being mean to the barista or, something like that. And I'll say, okay, God, what do you want me to know? And what do you want me to do? I get quiet, I do my breathing, and I always get an answer. And then, of course, the next thing is acting on it. And you know what? It's always been so positive, and it really helps to guide me when I'm in a difficult situation, or I see something happening, or even like today, I got locked out of my trailer, which is my podcast studio. I was super late, and I was just like, oh my gosh, getting so frazzled. What do you want me to know? What do you want me to do? And here I am coming to you, and I'm pretty calm for me, which is a good thing. So, final statement that was one of my takeaways with Jamie is that fear complicates everything and truth liberates everything. And the way I see that in my life is when I'm running late, that fear soundtrack is, oh my gosh, you're always late. Oh my gosh, I can't believe this happened, or you should be more prepared. No. I'm going to pause, push the pause button. What do you want me to know? And what do you want me to do? And I truth tell to myself. And the truth is, no, I'm not always late. And no, I'm actually really organized. Sometimes things just happen. and it's all going to work out. That's the power of really truth-telling to yourself, is that you can get yourself out of these fear flare-ups and end up making better decisions. Life is a lot smoother. And one of the things that I love the most about being more peaceful is that it's really an encouragement to other people to also be peaceful. Thanks for joining me today. I really encourage you to go back and listen to this first podcast that I had with Jamie. I will tell you that it was my first podcast. So I wasn't quite as, on it. But again, here I am, calm and peaceful. What do you want me to know? What do you want me to do? And I still got a lot of great value out of it. It's one of my favorite podcasts I've recorded, and I hope you enjoy it. Have a great day. Bye-bye. Okay, I don't know about you, but all of this talk about Black Friday, which has literally become an entire month, is starting to kind of stress me out. And I feel like it's forcing me to shop earlier and earlier and spend more money. So I'm a person that I don't need a lot of stuff, and I don't like to give a lot of stuff to people. I like to give experiences or activities or food or beverages, whatever it is. So I got to tell you about this Black Friday deal. I know I just said I was stressed out about it, but now I want to tell you about it. So this is from ButcherBox, and they are offering a great deal to my people right now, which is $40 off of your membership, $20 the first and $20 the second month. But then you get free steaks for an entire year, and you get to choose your own. So it could be ribeyes, filet mignon, New York strip steaks. And this is a phenomenal deal. And I've done this before, and I love being able to take the ribeyes out in the morning from my freezer. They're defrosted by evening, and I can cook them up in less than 10 minutes. So it makes for a great high protein dinner. So go to butcherbox.com/Enos, use the code Enos. This deal is only good until December 2nd. So, and then I have no idea what they're going to offer my community. So now is the time to act. It is a great, unique gift for somebody who you just don't know what to buy for them. And again, I love to gather with friends and cook food. So this just kind of checks all the boxes for me. So hope you enjoy it. Hey, y'all, can you do me a favor today and go and leave a review of this podcast? I know that the more great reviews, wink, wink, emphasis on great, reviews that I get, along with more downloads and more subscribers, that pushes this podcast out to people who might normally not even find it. And the reason I started this podcast, and my real heart for starting this podcast, is that I needed this information. It wasn't available. And so I started a podcast so that I could be a blessing to others. So you're a blessing to me just by being here. And again, thank you for your support. Thank you for your positive reviews and all of the notes that you send me. And also just wanted to say, hey, keep in mind, I'm not a doctor. And if you need medical advice, please reach out to your team. That is going to be just the best source for you because they know you. So again, I hope you enjoyed this podcast.